Hi there, this is Imaneo. Welcome to my channel. As you might know, in this series we are implementing a game using Flutter and Flame game engine, and the game is called Flappy Dash. And in today's episode we are going to do some cleanups. We are going to improve some UI UX elements, and also we are going to do some cleanups in the code base maybe. And yeah, so let's start by taking a look at the latest state of the game. I'm gonna restart the game and it says press to start, and also we have the player here. So this is the idle state of the game. As you remember, we have some playing state and we have none or idle, I would say. We have playing, paused, game over. So we are not using paused at the moment. We are using none, playing, and game over. So none is this state, and when you press on the screen, the game starts. Maybe we can change this text to tap on the screen or tap to start. And when you tap, the game starts, and as you see on the top side, we have the score, and also this is the playing state. So as you remember, we had some playing states, and this is the state of playing. And also we have the game over overlay or state. So this is game over state, and we show a text and a button to play again. So when you press on this button, we just restart the game. Okay, so first of all, let's modify this text. I'm gonna search for press to start. So I'm gonna change it to tap to start because it makes more sense in my opinion. Yeah. And now I would like to change the font of the application or of the game, because it is boring, in the game you need to have some cool fonts. So I'm gonna open the Google fonts, and as you know, in Google font you can find a lot of free fonts, so they are free to use for commercial or non-commercial usage. And I'm going to use a font called yes, this one. So I'm gonna download the font from here, and it's a zip here. I'm gonna unzip it, so we will have access to the Chewy regular TTF font here. I'm gonna copy it, and here I'm gonna create a fonts directory inside the assets. Okay, so let's paste it here. Yeah, we have the font here. Let's add it to the Git. Yeah. And now there's an article that explains how can you set a custom font for your application. So it is in the Flutter website. I'm gonna put the link into the description. So first of all, we need to declare the font in the pubspec file. I'm gonna copy paste this code, and I'm gonna open the pubspec.yaml file. Yes, here we have fonts, but I'm gonna paste the code that I just copied. We have only one font here, so I'm gonna rename it to Chewy. And we only have one font here, so I'm gonna just copy the name here. It's here, and instead of fonts we have assets/fonts, and I'm gonna remove the other one. And yes, so I think it's enough for here. Maybe we can cut it, and also we can remove these comments, and we can paste it here. Yeah, so it is cleaner. And let's do a pub-get. Yeah, by the way, we need to change the branch to part 8. As you know, in each episode we have a branch, so you can check the code and compare it with the different branches that we have. And yeah, so I think because we added a font, we need to do a hot restart. I'm gonna stop it and play it again. Okay, so we just restarted the game, but the point is that we haven't introduced the font to the material app that we have. So as you know, in the main file we have a material app, and we need to introduce the font just like this. So we have theme data, and also we have font family. So I'm just going to paste this code. Let's remove the const here, and it's gonna be Chewy. let's do a hot reload. Yeah, so we have the font now, and now we can just open the main page here. Yes, you know, I don't like the font color here. I'm just going to use a blue color that we have in the player. And to do that, I'm gonna use a tool, which is a color picker. By the way, I'm using Raycast instead of Spotlight in my macOS, so you can install different kind of plugins. So in the store, you will have access to a lot of plugins that you have here. And the one that I'm using is Color Picker. So you can install plugins and then you will have access to the plugin that you installed. So it is called Color Picker. And now you can copy any color from your screen. You see, we can, for example, copy the color of this pixel or this pixel. But for now, I'm just going to copy the color of this part. Yes. And yeah, as you see, it is copied in my clipboard, and I'm going to use it here. And let's do a hot reload. Yes, it feels better. And let's increase the font size to something like 38. And now let's add some animation to this one. So we can use Flutter Animate package to do that. As you know, it is a package that allows you to have a lot of animations simply. So you can just add the animate to the widget, and also you can have fade, you can have scale, you can have move, blur, or any kind of animation that you like. It is super easy. So I'm gonna copy the package name and I'm gonna write Flutter pop add Flutter Animate. And yeah, so it finds the latest version of the package. Yeah, it is added here, 450. And if you check the pubdev, you see that this is the latest version. And now we are able to add the animate here. Yes, but it is a constant, so we need to remove it. Yeah, and then we can have, for example, a scale animation, and begin can be a offset of 1 and 1. So this is the normal scale, and also we can have offset of 1.5 as the end offset, and also we can have yeah, so to have the repeat animation in the on init or on play, you will have access to the controller, and using the controller you can say controller.repeat, and inside that you can say reverse equals true. So it's going to scale up and scale down, scale up and scale down. So I'm gonna set it to true. And also we can have a duration here. So I'm gonna say duration of milliseconds, 500 maybe. So it's a half of a second. And let's do a hot reload. Yeah. So it is too much. Let's decrease the end to 1.2. Yeah, you know, it feels better and I think it is good. Let's see, can we increase the font space or character space here? What do we have here? Letter spacing. Yeah. So let's try 2, or let's try 4 because we need more space. Yeah. So I think it is good now. We are good to go, and it helps you to understand that you need to tap to start the game. By the way, we can change it to tap to play. It feels better. And there's an issue here. So if you tap on the text, it doesn't start the game. But if you tap here, it starts. The point is that the text is capturing the tap event. So we can wrap it with a widget called ignore pointer. So when you have this widget, it just ignores any pointer event that you have for the text. So let's do a hot reload. And now even if you click on the tap to play, the game starts. So this is what we are looking for. Yeah. So as you see, the game over text is updated because we changed the font of the whole application. If you try to add it here, it just changed the text style for all the application that you have. And now let's focus on the background here. So I'm gonna blur the background a little bit to have more focus on the game over elements here. So let's find it. We have game over widget. Yeah, so as you see, we have a black container, and inside that we have game over text and the button. So I'm gonna wrap it, or maybe we can use a stack widget. And now I'm gonna have just a blur widget here. So we have a backdrop filter widget, which helps you to have yeah, thanks Copilot. So we have image filter, and using image filter you can blur the behind widgets that you have here. For example, you can have sigma x and sigma y, and if you hot reload, yeah, you see that nothing happens because it needs to have a child. So maybe we can just put the container as a child here. Let's try, and if you hot reload, yes, it works. So this way we can just remove the stack, because I thought we need to have them on top of each other, but we just wrapped the container with the backdrop filter. So I'm gonna cut this code and just use it instead of the stack. And if you hot reload, yeah, so now we can increase the blurriness to 10 maybe. It is too much. Let's try 8 or 6. Yeah, I think it is good. Now we can change the game over text here. So let's increase the letter spacing to something like 4. Let's try 2. And also we can increase the font size to, for example, 48. Yeah, so we need to show the current score here because you just finished the game. The game is over and you need to see the score here. So I'm gonna create a text here called score is, for example, 8. And let's do a hot reload. Okay, so we need to add the spacing here. Let's decrease this one to 6 maybe, and this one to 24 maybe. And also we can copy paste this text style here. And now we can decrease the size to, for example, 22. And you know, I don't like the colors here. Maybe we can use the orange from the bird here, from the dash. So let's open the color picker. I'm gonna choose, let's try both of them. So I'm gonna use this one to see how does it look like. So I'm gonna use 0x and the color that I just copied. Let's do a hot reload. Yeah, so let's try it in the game over. Yeah, so let's change it to white, and game over can be orange. Or let's try the other color, the lighter orange. It is here. Yeah, it feels better. So we have the game over page, and when you click on the play again, it starts and it tells you that you need to tap to play. And when you play, yeah, very good. And also let's increase the button size here, so we can just change the font style. Let's copy paste this code, and I don't want to change the color, but I want to increase the font size, and also we can have a padding here to increase the button size. And yeah, so I think we are good to go with the game over screen. Yeah, we can increase the spacing here maybe to 48, or I don't know, 90, 60. Yeah, it's better now. So you have the game over overlay here. We have the blurred background, and also we have the playing state. Oh, by the way, I think we are using a hard-coded value here. Yes, it is correct. So we need to change it to, do we have the block here? No, so we can just wrap it with the block builder. So I'm gonna use game qubit, and here game state. So here we are gonna have access to the score, so it is current score. And when you run the game, it should show the correct score of you. And for example, oh, we didn't increase the score for the first one. Yeah, it is 3 here. Yeah, and it shows the correct score. Why we didn't get the first one? Maybe we need to increase the hidden score size to make sure that when you pass the pipe, you are gonna get the score. Yeah, by the way, when you are 7 and when you lose, it shows the correct value. Yeah, so now let's increase the hidden score size. As you remember, we have a hidden coin, sorry. So we can turn on the debug mode here to see that we have something like this. As you see, in between of each pipe, we have a score that you collect, and sometimes you might just pass through the pipe and not get the coin. So for example, go from the above of it or below of it. So it sometimes happens. Yeah, so to do that, I'm just going to increase the size. I'm just going to use 40, for example, and now you should be able to get it in every situation. So you cannot go on top of it, so you always have to collect it when you go through the pipe. Yeah, and yeah, it is enough. And in the next step, we are going to change the style of this font here. So as you see, we have the current score on the top center, and I'm gonna find it. So it's gonna be in main page. Oh, I think it is in the game itself. So it is not Flutter text widget. It is just a text component. So it is in the Flappy Dash game, I think, or the root component. Yeah. And let's find for a score. Yes. So I'm gonna just remove it from here because we can have a widget now because we have the state management. So I'm gonna remove this one, and I'm gonna remove the logic to show the score. So let's hot reload. We need to run it again because the game is not removing something that is already added. We need to restart to make sure that it is not going to be added here. And yeah, so as you see, we don't have it. And in the main page, we can have just a text here to show the score. So suppose that we have text of 0 and style is gonna be a text style, and color is gonna be a colors.black, and font size is gonna be 38, for example. Yeah, so we can have an align here to set the alignment top center. And let's do a hot reload. Yes, and also we can have a padding. Maybe we can have only top, which is 18 or 24. Yes, it feels better now. And now we can use the state.current score.toString that we have, but we need to remove the const variable here. And yes, I think we are good to go. Let's check it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so we have the 4 here. And by the way, we can hide it in the game over state. So we can say if state.current playing state is not playing state dot game over, we can have it. Otherwise, let's hide it. So in the game over, we don't show it, but when you are in the non-state or idle state, so let's rename it to idle, it makes more sense. And yeah, when you are in the idle state, playing or paused, you will see the score, but if you are in the game over state, you don't see it. So let's make sure that it works correctly. Yes. And yeah, so by the way, this if check here is a little bit complicated. It can be simpler. So I'm gonna define some functions here or getters here. Yeah, thanks Copilot. Bool is playing, it is when this instance is playing state.playing. If it is game over, is idle, and is paused. So this way we can simplify the logic that we have. For example, here we can just say is game over and we are gonna not it. Here we can say is idle, is game over, and let's see where can we simplify the logic. For example, here we can say if is playing and we're gonna not it, is playing and we're gonna not it, and or maybe we can define another one, which is bool get is not playing, which is the not of is playing. So this way we can have simpler logic. Yes, instead of this logic we can say if it is not playing or if it is not playing. Yeah, and where do we have other logics that can be simplified? Here, for example, we can say is idle, and here we can say if it is idle or it is game over. I think it is nullable and we need to add a question mark here. If it is null, let's have false. Yes, I think it is correct. So we are saying that if current playing state is idle and the latest state is game over. By the way, for this case, we can just keep the old code. I think it makes more sense. It is simpler. Let's just change this one so we can say if playing state is idle. And I think we updated everywhere. Also, we can define the is not game over to use it here. Is not game over. So it's gonna be not of is game over and we can just use it. Yeah, so hopefully the logic is simpler now. Yeah, for example, here we said if it is not game over, show the current score. So we show it in all the states except the game over. So everything seems working well. Now we just need to remove the debug mode to hide the debug lines that you see. Where do we have debug mode? Yes, it is inside the hidden cone, and yeah, we just increase the size and it is 40 and 40 now. Yeah, I think we are good to go with the UI UX elements. So we also clean up some code. So let's see what else can we clean up here in the code. So we have game qubit, everything seems good. Here we have game state, also here everything seems good. Maybe we can define the playing state, but it's good for now. So we have it in the game state. We have dash here. So what can we clean up? We have radius, we have center. And in the update method, we said if it is not playing, move the player. And when it is not playing, the jump doesn't work. So you should be in the playing state to be able to jump, and we just change the velocity. And here we just render the sprite that we have. And here we have collision detection. And I think it should be intersection points to remove the warning, because it is named intersection points in the super function or in the collision callback. So let's change it to intersection points to get rid of the warning. And here we have the parallax component, and we said if it is idle or playing, please update it, otherwise please don't update it. So that's why in the game over the background stops moving. So as you see, it stops moving, and it is because of this logic. And here we have the root component. So we have dash, we have the last pipe to generate the next batch. And what do we have in the update? We just have an if check to say if the dash x is larger than the last pipe x. let's generate a new batch and remove the last pipes. Maybe we can rename it to remove last pipes. And what do we have in the hidden coin? It is just a simple position component with a circle hitbox, and when you collect it, the score increases. It is very simple. So we have pipe here. Here we have the hitbox. We flip it if we are showing the top pipe. And yeah, we just render a sprite here. And we have pipe pair. So as you see, we have the bottom pipe, which is flipped false, and also the top pipe, which is flipped is true, and we have a gap between them. And also we have the hidden coin in between the pipe pair. So this is a simple component that we have here. It is a pipe pair, and when we move it, everything is moving. So the bottom pipe, the top pipe, and also the coin is moving. So in the update, we just state if it is playing, please move the X position of the pipe pair by the speed multiplied by delta time. So it's going to be rendered consistent in every machine with any graphic that you have, whether it is 120 FPS or 60 FPS. So it's gonna be consistent, and if it is paused, game over, or idle, we don't move it. It is correct. And here we have game over widget. So we show it when we are in the game over state, this one. And so we have a stack, as you remember. We have the game widget behind everything. We have game over, and we said if it is game over, please show it. We have the tap to play button, and we said if it is idle, please show it. And also we have the score, and we said if it is not game over, please show the score. Yeah, by the way, we can just separate these widgets. For example, I can create a new one called top score dot dart. So I can just have a stateless widget, and it's gonna be this one. So we can just wrap it with the block builder, and it's gonna be a game qubit. So it has the state independently, so you can just use this widget, and it knows where should it get the current score. So it uses the game qubit dot current score to a string, and let's use it in the main page. And also we can have the tap to play text. So let's just have a widget called tap to play dot dart. Yeah, so we have this text here. Let's import everything. Okay, so we can just use tap to play as a child here, and yeah, so now it is simpler, and let's add them into the Git that we have. And yeah, also we have Flappy Dash game. So we have a root component which contains everything that we have in the game, and we wrapped it with a flame block provider to be able to inject the game qubit to the component tree that we have. I mean, this is the topmost component that we have, and it injects the game qubit. And yeah, also in the main file, we have just a material app and a block provider. And yeah, so I think we are done with this episode. So now we have a clean state of the code base. We cleaned up the UI UX elements that we have. So we just used a new cool font, and also we just changed some text colors and text size. And I think we are good to go. In the next episode, we are going to add some audio effects and the background music. And don't forget to subscribe and like the channel. It motivates me to create more video or publish more videos. And please share it with your friends. And yeah, so stay tuned for the next video, and have a nice day, evening, wherever you are. Bye.